Crypto has a very, very big week coming up this coming week. Today is Sunday, April 23rd. I'm going to tell you exactly what is going to be coming this week so you can be prepared. Stay till the end because I've got a lot to tell you about so that you can know what is coming and how it impacts any crypto coin or token that you own. As always, I appreciate you and thank you for your support. Remember to smash that like button and please hit that subscribe button if you've just come finding me for the first time, because I make content with one simple reason: to help you navigate crypto and just keep you updated on what is going on. Okay, so this coming week, there is a lot of moving parts. Okay, so the Fed's next rate move may be crystallized with the data we get this week. Okay, so you're like, Austin, I don't care. You should. It is inflation and the Federal Reserve and their battling of inflation that has been the narrative and the backdrop for the last year and almost a half, year and a half almost, for all of 2022 and the first quarter of 2023. It has been inflation that's been the center, like I said, the backdrop. Again, everything happens against that. Okay, now here's what you need to be aware of. Okay, so the latest U.S. figures on growth, inflation, and wages are going to be released this coming week. Okay, so number one, first up, is the government's going to release its initial estimate of the first GDP, the gross domestic product. It's going to give us insight into kind of overall, economic conditions, how good or bad, looking at the GDP. That's number one. Well, so inside of the GDP, it's going to show that consumer spending did get off to a good start, but it's also probably going to show that inflation remains too high. I know we know this, but it's going to show that that is too high, particularly the core measure that excludes food and energy prices. So when we look at inflation data, they look at kind of the overall aggregate number, and then they say, okay, inside of that number, there's this core inflation number that is everything excluding food and if energy, basically, gas, things of that nature. So we really look at the core number. So we're going to get the GDP, which is going to give us insight into that. Now, that's number one. That's first up. Second up, coming this week, is the PCE, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index. That comes out as well. That's another gauge similar to the CPI. I know a lot of acronyms. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index we got earlier this month, was decent. It showed a little bit of we got a little bit of a positive surprise there, meaning it showed that inflation was cooling a little bit. So we're going to get yet another look at that this week, and that's the PCE. So, okay, so we'll see how that number comes in. So that's 1 and 2. Okay. Beyond that, all of that said, it could hint that we could be looking at another 25 basis points raise at the May meeting, that the May 2nd and 3rd meeting that we're going to get. This is the FOMC, Federal Reserve meeting. I know there's a lot going on here, okay? But I'm just giving you this is all this week, okay? So it's going to basically give us some insight into that. So I wanted to kind of convey that to you, that we could be looking at a 25 basis point, but also the silver lining here is that we could be looking at the end of potentially all of these interest rate hikes coming and maybe being done in May. If it looks like all of the data coming in that we're going to finally get this week is going to show that things are starting to look better. Okay. So I realize that there's a lot going on there, but I'm just kidding. And all of this does have an impact on crypto, by the way. Part of this is reason that crypto finally turned a little bit positive today. It's up about 1% right now as of recording this video. So that's all good news, okay? In that capacity. So all eyes are going to be on this next week, the GDP report, the PCE, I know personal consumption expenditures report, all of that, a lot of moving parts. Stay tuned. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you. Have a good one.